Well, let me just begin by saying, oh my, it's such a wonderful time. It's so inspiring to hear all the stories, to see all the family and friends. So on behalf of the whole department, faculty, advisors, and staff, thank you for spending 4 or more years with us. This is just a wonderful time of year to celebrate. So in the spirit of that celebration, I wish to close by building on the wonderful examples that Judy gave you of things that have happened in your time here that illustrate for all of us several key facets of all that you've learned. And in particular, I want to do that through 2 stories, the stories of the orangutan and the story of the polar bear. Stories that highlight both the great opportunities and daunting challenges that are your future now as the newest generation of biologists. In January of 2011, so in spring of your junior year, a team of scientists published a paper in the journal Nature announcing that the entire genome of the orangutan had been sequenced, the entire genome. It was a remarkable achievement, reminding us of the profound advances in science that have made it feasible, in fact now almost routine, to understand all of the essential genetic underpinnings of life's marvelous diversity, something that was just beyond our wildest dreams 3 decades ago, 2 decades ago, for example. More importantly, this story highlights that as new graduates, you get it. You now have the knowledge base based on your time at the U of A to understand how it all works, how variation in the sequences of nucleotides in DNA translates into the exquisite diversity that we see all around us, how understanding the genome of an animal as unusual as the orangutan, this marvelous animal that lives in the tropical rainforests of the islands of Sumatra and Borneo, opens a window into understanding key features of primate evolution as well as hominid biology, helping us answer the key questions of who we are and where we came from, how we work, how our immune systems work, how our endocrine systems work, and what we're related to. Also, while you were a student at the U of A, our U.S. Department of the Interior announced that the polar bear had been listed as a threatened species. It was a sobering announcement for all of us. The polar bear indeed is a majestic creature, embodying for all of us life in the far north, life at the planet's edge, if you will. Yet recent scientific insights indicate that the polar bear population is declining precipitously, such that we may lose 2/3 of the Earth's polar bear population by the year 2050, a little over 25 years from now. And those are conservative estimates. Here again, as new graduates, you get it. You now have the knowledge base to understand why. To understand how changes in the global carbon cycle influence global climate, and hence the extent of polar sea ice on which polar bears depend. How altered patterns of foraging and metabolism in polar bears influence their birth and death rates, and thus the dynamics of the polar bear populations. And how a creature as majestic as the polar bear can thus be brought to the brink of extinction in your lifetimes. And what it tells us about the fate of life's exquisite diversity planet-wide. How science is key to understanding not only how this has happened, but also what we can do to help reverse the trend. Science will inform us at so many levels. And so the orangutan and the polar bear embody your scientific future, individually and collectively. A future of great opportunities, with genomics pushing back the edges of science in untold ways, as well as the daunting challenges, namely how it is that human society is impacting the planet with which we share so many creatures, so many of which are now being pushed to the edge of extinction by our activities. A future for which you are now better prepared based on your academic achievements to date. And thus it's a future that we, as families and friends who are here today, as teachers and advisors, bequeath to you with the greatest hope and the greatest confidence going forward, because it is your future indeed. So with that, we end the graduation ceremony. I want to bring Liz Oxford back for a few minutes, and as she's coming up, I would just like to ask on behalf of all of us that we give Liz and Kristen and Whitney, as well as other staff in EEB, another round of applause.
So you guys probably